It's so nice to have you back where you belong. It's so nice to have you back where you belong. You look nice to have you back where you belong. It's so nice to have you back where you belong.
Here come the hot sniper. I'm the lyrical gangster. Big up the crew in the area. Still have it like that.
Girl is In this whole world, you know, there are millions of boys and girls who are young and black with their souls intact, and that's a fact. You are young and black. We must begin to tell our young there's a world waiting for you, and yours is the quest that just begun. When you're feeling real low, here's a great truth that you should remember and always know that you are young and black. Yeah, you've got your soul intact. Come on, and that's a fact. When you are young, give it back, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go, here we go again. Trayvon will never get to be an older man. Black children, they childhood stole from them, robbed of our names and our language. Stole again. Who stole the soul from black folk? Same man that stole the land from cheap black smoke and made the whip crackle on our back slope. Made us go through the back door and raffle black bodies on the slave blocks. Hot damn black America again. Think of Santa Plan as I'm staring in the wind. The color of my skin, they comparing it to sin. The darker it gets, the less fairer it has been. The hate made, I inherited from them. But I ain't gonna point the finger, we got anointed singers like Aretha, Marvin, Billy, Stevie. Need to hear them songs, sometimes to believe me. Who free me? Lincoln a Cadillac, drinking a battle rap. So is it Godspeed that we travel at? Endangered in our own habitat. Them guns and dope, man, y'all can have it back. Cause we young, gifted, and black. Young, gifted, and black. We 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 young, gifted, and black. Yo, Yolanda, yo, take it back. Young, gifted, and black.
young, gifted and black.
Young, gifted, and black. We young, gifted, and black. Young, gifted, and black. We young, gifted, and black. We young, gifted, and black. Come on, we like. Young, gifted, and black. Keep the soul intact. Make the people react. We young, gifted, and young, you are.
Happy Tuesday to each of you. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, I didn't get my dates mixed up. I missed you all so much. I wanted to come before you all with a special show. We are celebrating a lot this month, Juneteenth, Black Music Month. This weekend is Father's Day. There's a lot of great things happening in our nation, in our city. So I wanted to talk about those things tonight. So we will be talking about Black Music Month tonight, as well as a lot of great things going on in our city this weekend. So go ahead and tag your friends, tag your family members, let them know that Perspective is on a Tuesday, and we will be coming back on Monday for our regular scheduled time. But please note that our new time, starting again on Monday, will be 7:15 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, 7:15 p.m. to 8:30 Central Standard Time. We are gonna start posting earlier just to remind people, but I'm excited. I don't want to delay the hour. One of our guests is already backstage and she's ready. She's no stranger to the Perspective family. It's been a while since she's been with us, but I'm thrilled to have Jasmine Stinson back. She's no stranger. You know that she's a therapist and an educator. So without any further ado, Jasmine Stinson.
Hey,
So good to see you.
you as well. It's been a minute.
It has. And ladies and gentlemen, the background that you see behind me and Jasmine, this is Wow, probably over 60 years of black artists that have contributed. So not going to get into calling names because they're squeezed in there, but yeah, that's what we're basically talking about tonight. And the topic for tonight is we all need music. We all need music. There's a video that I was going to play that talks about the history of Black Music Month, but I kind of saved that because I'm excited about this conversation. Because even when I text Jasmine, she was like, "Yes, we can talk about music all day." Absolutely. So, y'all know me. I like to make sure that we're educated. So, one of the basic definitions that I found from music was music is the universal language of mankind. And I read that again. Music is the universal language of mankind. And when we think about that definition, we can debate on a lot of things. But I think when we start talking about music, we can all find some common ground on that, no matter what your race is, no matter what your religion is. Music just soothes the soul, it's a healing factor. And then I did like the urban definition of music. It says that music is something the world would be lost without. And I don't know about you, but I definitely agree with that. So this is how we're going to start. Jasmine, when you think about music, talk about what comes to your mind.
So, and I don't know if it's because we were texting about music. Y'all know they be listening. Uh, but on my feed on Facebook, a post came up that said, if if paintings are art for the wall, then music is art for the air.
Wow.
And that is true. It is so true. Music is my thing. My reason for excitement, like when I say probably 70% of my day, there's music going on in some capacity. It's at the point where, as many of the viewers know, I run a therapeutic day school. And my students know that whenever they walk in my office, they can listen to what's playing and tell what kind of mood I'm in. So music has just kind of always been there. I'm one of those people who certain songs take me back to very specific memories, very specific moments. It just kind of triggers, it keeps me going, it picks me up. I used to adjust my music based off of what my mood was. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to adjust my music off of what I want my mood to be.
Absolutely.
Because it influences me very heavily. So I was very excited to talk about music today.
And then I did jot down 10 things. We probably won't get to all 10. I'm just being honest about how music can increase your overall well-being. So we'll try to get to as many as we can, and then who knows, this may turn into a part two or next week. You never can tell all of these types of shows, but all month I can tell you this is what we'll be talking about for the rest of the month. Because it is Black Music Month, and we have a lot of phenomenal artists that we can celebrate, past and present and future artists that are coming up doing their own thing. So this is just an exciting topic, an exciting time to talk about this. So I probably should ask this question later on. Um, when you think about some of the music artists that have shaped who Jasmine is, can be any genre. Try to give me your top five. I think that's fair enough.
Oh, so I grew up on a lot of like Stevie Wonder,
Mhm,
kind of Patti LaBelle, old school.
mhm,
Like my parents were definitely that old school kind of vibe.
mhm.
As I got older, I got into like I'm an Outcast groupie. That's what a lot of people don't know about. Like Outcast, yes, I will travel for Outcast. Um, but I also grew up, listening to, gospel music.
Right.
This morning I had to sit in my car and let Dottie Peoples finish.
Mhm.
He's an on time God because it came on as I was pulling in the parking lot and I couldn't get out the car and leave it. It took me back to childhood because before my grandmother passed, that was her favorite song to lead in church.
Wow.
So um, I cannot narrow it down to five. I'm a Janae Aiko fan. Um, if you get into like hip hop, I'm into JaPaul and Kendrick Lamar. I'm into more of that conscious hip hop if I'm
So give
going
me
that route.
five R&B tonight because we are going to do gospel next week.
5 R&B. I can't narrow it down to 5. I can't. Like there is not I don't think there's an artist out there that you could give me that I can't tell you a moment it takes me back to and how that moment affected me.
Absolutely. And so
Um,
we did try to depict something from several of those artists in the mix. And as I was listening to it playing, I was like, no, but I missed so many more. Um, and while you're thinking, I'll start. And tonight, if you're watching, I want you to comment your favorite R&B artist or your favorite moment. I think for all of us, even for those of us who weren't born when the moment happened, when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk for the first time for the Motown 35th anniversary reunion, that was a moment in history, a moment in time. You know, those are just timeless moments. When Whitney Houston did the Star Spangled Banner, those were just moment in times at the Super Bowl. When Marvin Gaye did the Star Spangled Banner, his was different, but those were just moments in time because, and this is no shade to other artists of any ethnic background, blacks are creative. I mean, what we can take with the song, you know, you hear a lot of artists, they've been doing the whistle thing. The whistle thing is coming back. You know, when you just listen to these things, it's so many. Okay, so I'm gonna shut up. Okay, go ahead and give me some. If you can't do 5 complete, I get it. We'll go kind of go back and forth.
you said 5 songs or artists?
5 R&B artists.
Definitely Patty.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually seen her live twice, y'all. When Patty comes out and she takes off them heels, you know it's about to get real. um, Current is Janae Aiko. Um, Old school group. Do you remember the group 702?
Mm-hmm.
702 was a whole vibe. And they were highly underrated. Um, TLC. TLC was a lot of my childhood. You know, what about your friends? um, that little introspective thinking before I even knew what introspective thinking was. And probably 112, which is a group I probably shouldn't have been listening to, but coming from the Atlanta area,
Right, right.
I had no business knowing the words to the songs. Vibing like I knew what I was talking about, but you know, that was a lot of my high school. Like I have distinct memories of, you know, riding around in my friends' cars with 112 on, like, ooh, start that song up before we pull up so everybody can hear it, you know.
For me, it's like you. I liked all groups, but I liked a lot of family groups. So my top R&B group, I would say the Barge, because although the Jacksons did record as a family a lot, the Barge with the hits when you think about it, because you might as well say Switch was the senior DeBarge because it did have members of the DeBarge family. And then when the DeBarge came out with L, they just took it to another level. So definitely the DeBarge family. Of course, Michael Jackson. Uh, yeah. See, I'm just like you. It's not as easy as it thinks, but yeah, y'all go ahead and comment. We just want this to be a fun, relaxed night, and you are gonna learn some things as well. Anita Baker, to be in her 60s. I know a lot of us wish we were in Las Vegas, and I know you all have seen them. If you aren't following her, it's a room on Facebook. I think it's Anita Baker in the Rapture. You don't have to pay anything to join. It's a fan group. Every time she took the stage in Las Vegas, they posted concerts. And to hear her in her 60s still belt those songs out like she just recorded them is amazing. So definitely Anita Baker. Boys to Men. Boys to Men was another hot group. I don't really think they got the notoriety that they deserve, but they were a force to be reckoned with. And then recently, I would say PJ Morton. And I could say more, but those are my top five. Those are my top five. And then don't worry, we're gonna get to songs that kind of shaped our culture and that are still relevant today. So we're gonna try to pack as much in. And Councilor Woods is backstage, so hopefully we can get him on so he could have some of this conversation as well. But yeah, these are just timeless artists and timeless music. So the first one I want to put up, and then me and you can kind of go back and forth. Music increases happiness. Music increases happiness. I don't know about you, but I'm sure all of us can relate to this. You get up in the morning, you running late for work. A lot of us, we don't have that testimony because we're working from home. But let's say before COVID, or if you have to go back to the office now, you get up in the morning, you're running late for work. For those who drink coffee, you don't have your coffee, your mood ain't right. But if you turn on some music, it just changes your whole mood. It changes your whole mood. And Jasmine, kind of when you think of the what I posted, music increases happiness. What comes to your mind?
So scientifically, it actually does release endorphins, which is what creates that happiness. Your heartbeat will often actually sync with music, which aligns with some of it, which is why whenever you're listening to upbeat music, I know as I was listening to your mix, whatever, I was in the backstage waiting room. At first, I was just kind of sitting there on my phone. Next thing you know, I'm singing along. Next thing you know, I'm dancing along, and it's all subconscious. And I realized, oh, he can see me. So that's scientifically why, but a specific incident it makes me think of. So I've got a student, and my student is of Hispanic descent, and it was not aware of the two versions of Beyonce and Frankie Beverly and Maze.
Okay.
And so he had to read an article on it. And he was like, Miss Jazz, what is this? What is this? And so we start playing it. And so he listened to the Beyonce version first, because of course that's what the article talked
Mm-hmm.
about. And then we started playing the Frankie Beverly and Maze version. And I kid you not, every single staff member that I have from the ages of 21 to 60 pop by this kid's room and poke their head in to do a little dance. And he was like, oh, everyone really does know this song, don't they? And I'm like, yeah, everybody knows this song. Like it's just something standard. And it
Absolutely.
started as kind of a pick me up for everybody that day. And it wasn't anything intentional, but I think that just kind of shows what music does to us and what it does for us.
Hmm. I'm gonna kind of skip around. Like I said, we may or may not get to all of these tonight. Music improves sleep. This is a big one. This is something that I can attest to. I know a lot of people say they keep that TV on. Well, let me tell you something about that TV. If you have that TV on the right station, like if you're watching Martin or whatever your favorite sitcom is, you are not going to go to sleep. You will not go to sleep. But on the flip side is if you turn that TV off, you turn some music on, it can be jazz or music with vocals. If you turn it on at a medium setting, I guarantee you 30 minutes after you have had that music on, you're going to fall into a peaceful sleep. It has happened for me time and time and time and time again. I can't count the times I've done this, so it definitely works. So, what you got for us on this one, Jasmine?
Similar to why it makes you happy. Once again, I said your heart rate syncs with music. And whenever we sleep, our heart rate starts to slow. Our body is at rest. It also allows our minds to move away from the intricacies of our lives. If you're anything like me, whenever I lay down, that's exactly whenever I think about all the things I didn't do or all the things I need to do or everything that went wrong. And music, it pulls your mind away from those things, and it allows you to have something else to focus on. It slows your heart rate, and there is actually, once again, scientific evidence that it does demonstrate and improve sleep pattern.
So, this is one I did want to put up. Music does reduce depression. It really does. Kind of like what we said with the music increases happiness and music increases sleep. You notice a shift in your moods. I've been around people, they could be in a dark place. They walk into a room where their favorite song or one of their favorite artists, or it doesn't have to be their favorite, but it's a familiar sound that they've heard. If it's the right R&B song, you're gonna see them um, dancing. Their head is gonna go to bobbing. They'll sing along. It just changes their entire mood. So speak to that, Jasmine.
It triggers happy memories typically. I've actually got a playlist that is specifically called Good Day Playlist for those
Mhm.
days that you described earlier where you're running late, you haven't had your coffee, nothing seems to be going right. I have a playlist specifically for those days. Um, it picks you up out of it. Once again, that dopamine, that boost. It's almost like that shot of coffee, honestly. It lifts you up. Um, and we subconsciously are attached to music. One of the most recent studies I've been into is one on Alzheimer's patients, where these people can't remember their family members, sometimes can't
Mhm.
remember their own name. But when you play music that they grew up with, that they have significant associations, like mental and emotional associations with, they start singing along. So you can't remember your kid's name, but you can remember the lyrics to the song. And so I think that that's just an indicator of how in tune our bodies and minds truly are with music and all the sounds that take place around us. And if you learn to use it, it can be advantageous to help with many mental issues, and depression is just one of them.
Okay. Now this next one, I'm gonna be honest. I hadn't witnessed it yet. I'm gonna put it up. I'm not gonna say anything, and I'm gonna let Jasmine speak to it. It says music helps you eat less, and I'm sure there's some folks on here watching. You thinking the same thing like me? If it does, I need to listen to as much music as I can.
I have not heard this before. In fact, I'm one of those people who I like to dance and munch at the same time. But I will note this to do some more research on so that if I find anything, I can get back with you. I can get back with the viewers. I have never heard this before. Um, I mean, I would guess it could be a distractor for someone who's not a foodie. But me, I just feel like music just adds to the good time because food for
Absolutely.
me is a good time. So
Absolutely.
so yeah, maybe if it's a distraction from what you're eating, maybe, but I've never heard that before.
Music elevates your mood while driving. Just gonna let that sink in for a little bit. Yeah, a lot of us could use that. And this they all tie in together. I know you're driving, that you are signaling for someone to let you over, and they don't let you over. You may say son of a gun. A lot of us ain't gonna say son of a gun. Let's just be honest. But just think about if you had music on that kind of soothe you, your response may be different, and you may say, you know what, they didn't let me over, but that's okay. So, yeah, those of you who get frustrated while you're driving easily, let's try to shift those moods while we're driving and keep music on. What you got for us, Jasmine?
So I lived in Atlanta for 4.5 years, and Atlanta traffic is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the point where my current job, I showed up over an hour early for my interview, and he asked, "Was I always this early?" And I was like, "No." However, when my GPS said I was going to go 23 miles in 27 minutes, I figured that that's not geographically possible because in Atlanta, that's not possible. And so I gave extra time for whenever my GPS corrected itself. So to say that means that I spent a lot of time in the car prior to moving here. And I still spend, I still have about a 20-minute commute, but it's nothing like what I used to experience. But because of the time I spend in the car, I learned to use that as self-care time.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to relax and they play soft, soothing music. I like to party. Honestly, if you see me at a red light, I 90% of the time have my sunroof open. Even if it is cold outside, I have my heat blasting. If it's hot outside, I have my air blasting, but my sunroof is open. My music is blasting and I am dancing at red lights.
Hmm.
I am that person. And it's funny because sometimes people pull up beside me and they'll dance with me. Others give me a side eye like, what's wrong with her? Um, but yes, it definitely helps with that drive. And I'm usually somewhere before I know it. My parents still live, 3 hours away, give or take a little bit. And there are days that I'm at their house before I realize it. And it's not just because I'm speeding.
All right, the next one. Music strengthens learning and memory. I thought this was another good one because it really does, especially for those who are in college students. You're going to get that master's or either your doctorate or any type of higher level degree. This really helps out a lot, especially if you're trying to grasp material where it's a little difficult. But one thing I would advise, please make sure that you don't put on music that's going to distract you from studying. I would recommend some nice mellow, maybe jazz, some neo soul, but you don't want anything that's gonna make you toss over that textbook or close down that laptop and you get up dancing because once you start dancing, you're gonna have a mess on your hand because you're gonna forget where you were studying. But it can definitely strengthen learning and um, memory. What you got for that, Jasmine?
Just kind of going back to the Alzheimer's study I referenced, there's a lot of current research coming out about what music does for our learning and our memory. And it's not just listening to, it's also playing music. The way that our brain connects the melodies and the sounds, it strengthens the brain. So your brain has what's called gray matter, and you have these synapses that connect the various hemispheres of your brain. And basically, that little bitty connecting highways. And as we get older, those highways kind of get shut down. Well, a lot of the evidence now is saying that music can keep those highways open. And it's just like if you have to take a long trip, the more routes there are to get there, the better traffic's going to be. If driving around Birmingham isn't that bad. If you've ever been to LA, there's one way in, one way out. You're sitting in 2 hour traffic at 3 a.m. And that's irregular. That's not an abnormal situation. That's not construction. That's just because of limited ability to get by. Um, so the fact that it opens those synapses, it keeps everything going. It keeps the parts of your brain connected. Um, that's why it's helping, and I'm glad that the evidence is starting to become more public and publicized. Whenever I taught high school for 6 years, and I always had music playing in my classroom as well. Just because this information has been out for a long time, but a lot of people are not aware of it.
To those parents that may be watching, I know school will be starting fastly in a few months. Kind of speak to how music can aid in the learning of a child. I don't think that's something we talk about enough.
So, what it does is it just kind of stimulates the brain. It keeps the brain going. And the same way that we associate specific events and times in our life with certain songs and certain incidences, is kind of similar with the material that they're learning in music as well. For children, I typically recommend that you use things that do not have lyrics. And if it does have lyrics, that you are playing the version that does not, or either
Mhm.
stuff that they're not familiar with. Because if you have something that serves as a distractor, there's a fine line, especially for a small child or even a young teenager whose prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. And that's able to differentiate between, kind of that fun and pleasure and what they're supposed to be doing. Um, so something that can keep their brains engaged, but also something that is not going to distract them. But if your child is telling you, Mom, I read better whenever I have music playing, or I can do math better when music's playing, a lot of times they're telling the truth. It does help a lot. Like I said, whenever I taught, I had music playing. As long as I was not mid lecture, I was not against kids having headphones on in my classroom. But a lot of that is just because I know what music does for people.
And it can, in fact, increase academic performance.
Yep. Whenever you start looking at your highest scores, your salutatorians, your valedictorians, oftentimes these are the same kids who are in band. They play instruments. And there's a lot of connection there. And I'm looking forward to studies on that. There's not a lot out showing the connectivity, but after being a teacher and a school counselor, one of the common trends that you start to identify is that your band kids, your choral kids, those are your top performers academically as well.
Mhm. So again, if you're watching us tonight, we are talking about why we need music. We are celebrating Black Music Month. And what I'm going to do now, I kind of want to take a brief station break. Something I found, I had a lot of fun putting this together. And so this video that I'm about to show you now, it doesn't cover the entire years, but it will show you enough to show you how music has evolved. This was from, I think it starts with 1960 up until 2014. So after this, we'll be right back.
The way you work it, no diggity. Hey, I believe I can fly. I get so lonely. No, I don't want no scrub. The scrub is the guy that can't get no love from me. All the money, make me money. Throw your hands up at me, baby. Let's get it crunk, let's get crunk. Love of my life. You are my friend. These are my confessions. We belong together, baby. To the left, we're gonna love you the way you should. Then let it go. If you ain't gonna move like a ball, do what a ball. Get to give everything to me. Oh, we can do it, baby, simple and plain. And 'cause I got my suit and tie. I'ma leave it all on the floor tonight. Give your all to me. I'll give my all to you. When I
So again, that was just a taste, and me and Jasmine were backstage. We were in our own vibe. But what I want to talk about now, and this could go well into part two, there are so many male and female artists that have it just when they sang, you knew they were going to be a star. So, and she wasn't mentioned it in the countdown. I'm surprised Aretha Franklin. As Franklin didn't have 18 Grammys for nothing, y'all. Even her newer material that we really don't focus on a lot. 18 Grammys, that's unheard of. I'm not even sure what Beyonce has. She may have more, she may have less. Jasmine, can I see if you can research that for me? Because I like to know that myself. But when you think about Aretha, even everything that she endured as a child, she put all of that on the back burner to make great music that continues to live on. She left us in 2018, and those are timeless classics. Respect, Never Loved a Man the Way That I Love You, Chain of Fools, Think, so many other ones, like even her great hits. Who else but Aretha Franklin would be bold enough to re-record an Adele song, "Rolling in the Deep," and they play it? Nobody but the Queen of Soul could do it. Did you find it, Jasmine?
Yes, Beyonce has 28.
Okay, that's not surprising. That's not surprising. But I mean, just think about it. And all of the artists that we're talking about tonight, a lot of them, they demanded excellence when they got in their career. You think about Stevie Wonder. Here's a little fun fact about Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder not only recorded a lot of hits, but he wrote a lot of hits for a lot of artists, or songs that he recorded were covered by a lot of artists. Like a lot of people didn't know, Stevie actually recorded and wrote first Until You Come Back to Me, which became a staple for Aretha Franklin. Stevie Wonder recorded and wrote Creepin', which later became a hit for Luther Vandross years later. So a lot of these artists, they were not only are singers in their right, but they're songwriters as well. So yeah, it's just a lot of songwriters, and we have to talk about Beyonce. I mean, wow. I mean, what can we say? It's like whenever we think that she's done it all, she always comes and does something else.
And yeah, so I tell people all the time I only have a real job for food, travel, and concerts. Uh, not a really material girl, but food, travel, and concerts. I love live music, and Beyonce is by far um, definitely the top three shows I've been to, possibly the top.
Okay.
She is an entertainer. Not only does she have that soulful, sultry voice that just kind of draws you in, but she is captivating. I've had nosebleed seats. I've had decent seats. I can't afford the really good seats. But either way, where you're sitting, it doesn't matter. You feel there. Whenever her On the Run 2 tour in Atlanta, she actually like had a stage that hovered out and moved out over the crowd, so that once again, kind of like no matter where you are, you're there. Whenever she cuts the music off and starts to sing a cappella, and you can tell it's her because you see her breath work. And back in the day it was kind of a thing to fake sing and just kind of move your like lip sync to stuff, but
Mm.
she is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and not only is she becoming an accomplished, well, has she become an accomplished songwriter and artist? Look at the movies she's made and still looking to make more. A lot of people have dubbed her as the Diana Ross of our time. I'll go with that. I don't think Diana was too happy when, because she said the portrayal of Dana Jones in Dreamgirls was too much like Diana, but I don't think she was happy with that. But yeah, she is, and yeah, it's just amazing. And then when we think about some more artists, like they didn't even cover the beginning periods when you had a lot of jazz and blues singers such as B.B. King, Rosetta Thorpe that would sneak and sing blues after church. Blues was actually brought, well, gospel was actually brought from blues. I don't know how many people knew that. So, yeah, that just goes to show you the uniqueness. So, a lot of those blues singers that after they left the clubs, they would go to the church. So, it's just connecting. When you think about songs that were impactful, that are still impactful today, what are, and I'm not gonna give you a number because this could be hard. What would be some of those top songs?
Just because I heard it today, the first one that comes to my mind is "Summertime." DJ Jazzy Jeff, like
Not have a summer picnic, summer cookout, nothing. You can't do it.
um,
It's impossible.
that's how you know summer has started.
Mhm.
Whenever that song comes on and you realize the weather matches, like it's officially summer. Um, I mentioned it earlier. What about your friends, TLC?
Mhm.
Like I said, I think that crazy enough, I think it caused a cultural shift. I was in, I want to say middle school when it came out. Dating myself a little bit, but I remember listening to the lyrics and having conversations and seeing the rifts in friendships, because it turned into, what about your friends? Will they stand their ground? And I think that inadvertently it caused an evolution and a development of
Mhm.
those kind of prepubescent mindsets, because it made us actually start to think critically on a different level about our values and our relationships. So I think that was a big one for me. Um, your summer cookout classics,
Mhm.
celebrate, Cool in the Gang, Frankie Beverly and Mays, anything by them,
Mhm.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like I'm at this point of naming groups. I ain't even naming stuff,
Right.
but I mean that's just what it was. Like that was childhood. That was, you know, I look at music today and I feel bad for today's youth because we grew up in a time where, granted, some of the lyrics were inappropriate.
Mhm.
We shouldn't have been listening to "I've Been Stroking." Let's be real. Uh, let's be real. But uh, with that being said, we didn't have a full understanding of what it was. It wasn't as
Right.
explicit as the music today. And I feel like music today takes a lot away from childhood.
It does.
It makes it really difficult for kids to be kids.
Absolutely. Oh, she froze. Hopefully, we could get her back. Okay, she's trying to get reconnected. But if you're watching tonight, we are talking about We All Need Music and we're celebrating Black Music Month. So if you're watching tonight, go ahead and name your favorite artists in the comment section or song. We definitely want to try to cover as many of those. I only see one comment with an artist, and I know it's more people than that. And I know y'all love some R&B, so go ahead with those comments. Okay, we got you back.
Sorry about that. The little indicator for my computer dying popped up, and as soon as I grabbed my cord, it cut off. um, Other things, Alicia Keys.
Mhm.
I feel like Alicia is highly underrated. I feel like she had her wave, but it ended way too soon. Like you said, Boys to Men. I watched their documentary not too long ago, probably a few months ago. Um, and it was just very eye opening because I was definitely a Boys to Men fan. But once again, it shifted a culture, but you don't know it. Usher.
Mhm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
I remember being on our sixth grade trip to Washington, D.C., and My Way was released that week. So that just
Mm.
goes to show you how impactful. I don't even remember what week it was. I just know it was the same week that My Way came out was the week I went to Washington, D.C. And girls boohoo crying on the back of the bus because they missed their boyfriends so much. And I'm just like, oh my God. I just wish my mama gave me more money for snacks.
And then let's talk about those artists. I know this can kind of be comedic, but those artists out there, when they release these songs talking about relationships, especially for me and you, were like, okay, why should release that? One song that comes to mind is "Not Gonna Cry" off Mary J. recorded off the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. I'm like, no, you finna get some men in trouble.
Well, being for, and here's the thing, I don't know that many people realize what it's talking about, but Monica, so I drive past your house in an unmarked car.
Hmm.
That's just promoting crazy.
Yeah, what about I bust the windows out your car?
Yes. Yeah, they sing about it all.
And another artist we have to talk about, I don't really think she's celebrated enough, India Ari. Um, the song she recorded, "I'm Not Your Hair," "I'm Not My Hair." That
Yes.
song spoke to women at a time, whether you were dealing with breast cancer and you lost your hair not by choice, or whether you just wanted to rock that low cut chic haircut. It made it okay for you to be yourself. And I don't think she's been given the credit that she deserves. You know, not just that song, but a lot of songs celebrating men and women, if we really want to be honest. Even if we go back before that, Shaka Khan with the anthem, "I'm Every Woman." And then years later, Angie Stone would write the anthem for the men, "Black Brother." So these are just timeless songs that we'll be hearing years and years and years. Our children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, great nieces, great nephews, they'll be rocking. So these are just timeless songs. And then when we think about songs that were show people then that the world would be a better place. Of course, they didn't know Marvin Gaye with "What's Going On," "Mercy, Mercy Me," and he's been gone close to 40 years, if not over. But these are still timeless songs. Stevie Wonder, you know, songs that he wrote. We would call them prophetic songs because they spoke to things that we're still dealing with now. Even the Temptations with "Ball of Confusion." A lot of the situations in that song, we're dealing with them now. So I can't speak for anybody else watching, but I'm proud to be black. And there's nothing like black music. It just is. It's the truth. And we're waiting on Councilor Woods to come on. Hopefully, we can get him back on. But okay, let's talk some more artists. I'm enjoying this, and y'all continue to post your artists in the comment section, and we're definitely going to tackle those. We have about 35 minutes left. We're definitely going to go ahead and get those up before we end the show. Okay, but tell me some more of your favorite artists and songs.
Um, Favorite artist. I told you this is hard. I don't know why you trying to do me like this.
Is there
I
one
told
that sticks out more than others? And if so, tell me why.
so I don't think there's one, but like I told you I have very distinct memories tied to certain artists. And one that another underrated is Tevin Campbell.
Mhm.
He came out in the early 90s, and this is before, I had all the fun technology to listen to music I have today. And I have, memories of laying in the living room floor with my Tevin Campbell cassette tape,
Mhm.
with my dad's big old headphones on, laid in the floor because my parents got sick of listening to it. And I would lay there and flip and read. Side A, read. And when it ended, I'm flipping it over. And I would lay there for hours listening to Tevin Campbell. So I think that's whenever I kind of fell in love with music. Um, my parents have always been very music focused. I grew up in a house where, um, as you know, we've talked about on other episodes, I'm biracial.
Mhm.
And it was kind of funky because in my house we listened to everything, and both my mom and dad listened to everything. It wasn't like you listen to this with one parent and this with the other. Like they both listened to all of it. And we had speakers wired through all the common areas of our house. And my dad is very similar to me, and there's always music playing, even as they've gotten older and the kids are out of the house. There's always music playing in my parents' house. So the love of music was, I think, naturally instilled. But I think that Tevin Campbell is what sealed the deal. Like that was the first, like I said, cassette tape that I listened to on repeat. So
Yeah, that was when cassettes were in. I think I was second grade going to third grade because that album was released in the summer too. I remember it. I think it was like summer of 92, summer of 93. It's amazing how it seems like this stuff was yesterday, but it's like 30, 31, and 32 years ago. Yeah. But yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. But we're talking about timeless music. And then in that video, I also wanted to talk about the fashions that we saw. And strangely enough, a lot of these fashions, they're slowly making their way back. We're seeing the skinny jean look. And that's making a comeback. It just goes to show you how things that were once in go through the phases where they're not in, and then hey, that's the new trend again. So it just goes to show you some history. It really does repeat itself. So when we talk about more artists, okay, we got to talk about Whitney Houston. We ain't talked about her, and I can't believe we hadn't talked about her. It's just like not right.
oh, because it still hurts my heart. Whew.
Yeah, the bio that she did, "Can I Just Be Me," came on BET this weekend, and I was like, wow. I'm sitting here really like watching this. Like she just supposed to come on and say, "Okay, I'm back." But yeah,
Yes.
just that timeless music and that timeless voice. And then let's talk about this. Came from a family of singers. Her mom, Dionne Warwick, is a cousin. I think Gladys Knight, she's related somehow. And then Leontine Price, who is opera, she's a cousin. So just a lot of family of singers and just that voice. Okay, what would be your top three Whitney Houston songs?
Um, Definitely I Will Always Love You. Like that is the one that still brings tears to my eyes. Um, what was the song from Preacher's Wife? Believe?
Yeah, I Believe in You and Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Graham. And it's
Yes.
sad Larry Graham recorded it first, but a lot of people don't even recognize this because Whitney, she just took it and made it her
She
own.
hand delivered.
Absolutely.
And probably I'm Every Woman.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember grooving and dancing through the house as a kid, and my mama reminded me, "You are not a woman. Go clean your room." So yeah. What about you? What are your favorites?
That's a hard one. That really is. I Believe in You and Me, absolutely. See, it's so many layers to Whitney. Like you had the young Whitney when she first came out. People didn't expect she would go past that one album, and it was just like crazy. Yeah, I Believe in You and Me. Let me think. I love My Love Is Your Love. That was a different feel for her,
Yeah.
but I love that one. And then probably The Greatest Love of All.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk
I
about
actually met her once.
really.
I because so whenever people talk about going to Atlanta, they talk about going looking for celebrities who they can see. They always talk about going to Lenox. That's not where the real celebrities hang out.
Okay,
There's a mall called North Point Mall,
okay.
which is up in one of the more affluent suburbs. and I was standing in line at a smoothie store, and Whitney was in front of me, and I was like starstruck, and I like tapped my friend beside me. I was like, "Is that Whitney?" She was like, "Girl, I don't know." I was like, "That's her." So we spent probably the 5 minutes in line speculating on whether or not that was her. And then she turned around and smiled, and she like took her shades down, and she was like, and she put the shades back on and walked off. I was like, okay, guess that was her.
Wow.
So it wasn't an encounter of conversation and such, but it was still one of my highlights.
So let's go ahead. My mom posted Minnie Rippleton. I've shared this story before, but I have to share it again. And if you're watching, go ahead and continue to post your favorite song or favorite music artist. I don't care how many at this point. We'll do as many as we can tonight. So when we were younger, there is a 10 and an 11-year age difference between me and my older sisters. And so during this time, I probably was like 5 and 6. So if you lived in the Vines house, even if you spent the night at our house on the weekend, like most families, that was cleanup day. We had designated time where you could go outside, do this, do that, but that was cleanup day. And so we had one of those floor model televisions with the stereo with the record player up top. And so one of mom's favorite artists, other than Anita Baker, has always been Minnie Riperton. And so that was a song that she recorded, still popular, back down memory lane. And so when my sisters watch this, they're gonna holler. So mom has always had a thing of making us pick carpet. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. Just picking carpet. And so I had it easy because I was younger. But like most kids, you did what you were told because that was just what you did. So you picked the carpet. So there's a song in
What are
those.
you picking? Are you getting like the little balls off of it?
So let's say like this is the carpet. This
Uh-huh.
so you ball your finger and you're basically picking.
Okay.
And so now we had a large living room when in the home we lived in then. So if you picked, you could really be picking like for a while. And yes, we had a vacuum cleaner. Let me just put that disclaimer out there. So there was a line in the song, Back Down Memory Lane, that says, "Save me, save me, save me." And so my sister that's above me, she's always been the comedian out of the three of us. And so she would just holler that line, "Save me, save me, save me." And so we would all get in trouble, but that was probably one of my favorite memories. But yeah, and to this day, anytime that album comes on, somebody mentions her, I laugh. So my dad mentioned the Temptations. Yes, they are still, and if you have not heard, they just actually released a 60th anniversary album. It is really, 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 really a great album. Yes, Otis Williams is the only original singer, but you still can feel a little bit of that vintage Temptations. And they actually did a song where they brought a rapper in. So it's a very great album. So I would advise you, if you haven't heard that, go ahead and pick that up. So Silk Sonic. So my parents have just fallen in love with Silk Sonic and Bruno Mars. I can't talk about the songs that they like, but yeah, that's become one of their favorite artists. So we're talking about timeless music tonight and why we all need music. And I don't want us ever to feel like that we can't have an outlet. Sometimes when you sit in a room, if you're in a dark place, if you're feel like you're in a dark place, that dark place can escalate into other places. One thing that I do every morning before work, I turn on Ricky Smiley Morning Show because you're gonna get good music, you're gonna laugh, and it just sets the course for your day. Because depending on the type of job that you have, you need that outlet to be able to deal with whatever you have to deal with. So it's just an all around great show. So you have that one, the Steve Harvey morning show. So I would encourage you to do those. Both of them start off with prayer, an inspirational moment, and then it's just straightforward. So it just sets the course for your day. But leaving this show tonight, I want us all to realize the importance of music. And when you find yourself in any of these situations that Jasmine and I have talked about tonight, you're not gonna stress out. You're not gonna flip out. You're gonna turn your radio on or Alexa because times are changing, or your laptop, but whatever device that you have, turn on that music and just flow. Even if you live by yourself, if you're in there dancing, that's okay. As long as it lightens your mood, that's what we want. That's what we want. So, Jasmine, in closing, we're not closing the show because we do have some other things to discuss. What are some artists that you haven't seen in concert yet that you would like to see?
That I haven't seen.
Mhm.
I don't know. I told y'all I live for three things. So I've been to a lot of live
Yeah, I
shows.
saw your head bobbing when they passed the Patty clip when she was singing somewhere over the rainbow.
Yes, I'm looking. I'm looking at your background now. I have not seen Chance. I would love to see him. Um, I think I've seen all the other ones you got up there. Um, I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody that I want to see that I haven't seen. I told you I'm a concert goer. Like there is something. Do you go to concerts?
I do.
Yeah, there's something about just being in an audience where everybody knows the words and you just like it is an entire different feeling because it's one thing to feel the music whenever it's playing and you're on your own. It's another thing to be surrounded by people who are all moving the same and singing the same words, and it is an entire mood and I live for it.
And shout out to our mayor, Randall Woodfin, and the Birmingham City Council. They are really working hard to bring probably some of the best acts, really working for the rest of the year because I know it was just announced last week that Mary J. Blige will be here in September. I think there's something lined up for July after the World Games. Steel City Jazz Festival is this weekend, which we'll be talking about in a few moments. So there's a lot of entertainment. So y'all, hopefully you're out of that phase. Birmingham has nothing to do. Even when there are no big name artists, you can go to Perfect Note every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes Thursdays. They always post them. So if you're not liking or following the Perfect Note, please like their pages. This is a great way to become accustomed to local artists because I always say you never know what local artists could be. They could be local today, but you don't know where their talents could take them. So you have the Perfect Note. You even have Roos Place right off Derby Parkway. They're starting to feature a lot of local talent as well. As a matter of fact, they'll be doing something, I think, a Father's Day concert this Saturday. And then there's a new jazz lounge that's opening in Uptown. So please get out and support your local artists. Even some perform at the Plum Bar. When you hear these artists, go, go, go. They need your support. They need your support. And when you hear that they are releasing products, go ahead and support their album. Now don't listen to that song for free on Apple Music, but go ahead and support that because most of the singles now they only cost 99 cents or $1.29. And just think of what you do with that in the run of the week. Most albums that you download, they're $9.99. So please, ma'ams, please, sirs, go ahead and support these local artists. So I'm trying to, if Councilor Woods doesn't make it back, I'll go ahead and make the announcement. But I'll save that one for the last one. So as I stated, we have a lot of great things happening this weekend. We know that Sunday is Father's Day, so a happy early Father's Day to all the fathers out there. But Sunday, June the 19th, is also Juneteenth. As we know, this is now a national recognized holiday, and some of you should be fortunate enough to have next Monday off if your job recognizes that. But this coming Sunday from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., this is the Juneteenth Festival. It's become an annual event, and I want to make sure I get her name correct. Whitney Jean Wright who's the owner of Simone's Kitchen ATL. This is something that she's been doing. I think this is the third or fourth year, and you're probably going to see anywhere from 20 to 30 food trucks, all black. There'll be a live band, there'll be vendors out there, there'll be a fireworks show, African dancers, just the overload of black excellence. Tickets are available for purchase at Simone's Kitchen ATL. Now, the first 100 tickets, they are $5, but I'm sure that has already sold out because these, if you've never been to one and your schedule permits, please go. Now, you may have to wait in line because it grows every year, but go ahead and get your tickets now. When I say some of the best food trucks that you've ever had, I'm talking about anything from oxtails, any kind of desserts you want, barbecue ribs, barbecue chicken, funnel cakes. If you have a craving for it, it's there. So please go ahead and support this event. And then also, give me a second to change the slide. Our Steel City Smooth Jazz Festival returns this Friday and Saturday at Land Park right here in Birmingham, Alabama. You're in for a treat with 22 phenomenal artists who are either Grammy winners or nominees. And this is a going to be a great time. If you still are interested in tickets, steelcityjazzfest.org. Again, steelcityjazzfest.org. You see the Isley Brothers, Bonnie James, Music Soul Child, Jonathan Butler, just a few acts that they have, Kirk Whalum. These are all artists, and you're in for a treat. So, again, that's steelcityjazzfest.org. Shout out to Mr. Cedric Allen and his team for bringing this back and for a wonderful weekend. And then the last thing, give me a moment to change the slide. So, as we mentioned, this is Father's Day this weekend, and Councilor Clint Woods, he's presenting the Man Up Breakfast, which will take place this Saturday at 9:30 at the Birmingham Crossplex, which is located across from the Five Points West Library. The event is absolutely free. So, if you are a father and you want to take your son, and he just informed me prior to the show that females are welcome. So, if you want to take your daughters, you may not have any sons, please do so. And I will post the link in the comment section after the show. There is no charge, but you are being asked to register. So I will post that comments in the section. Please, ma'ams, please, sirs, make it your business to support one or more of these events. What we don't realize in our city, a lot of events that are deemed annual events, they are determined by your participation. So please make sure that you support those events. Also, we are 23 days from the World Games. It comes to Birmingham July the 7th through July the 17th. We ask that you support something, even if you just go to the opening or the closing ceremony concert. Birmingham, this is our time. I don't think y'all realize there were actually countries that we beat out in this. So I do ask that you support this. We'll post them and on for next Monday's show. I'm going to try to have someone. There are volunteer opportunities for those who want to volunteer. The Birmingham Transit Authority has volunteer opportunities. So we'll be sure to have those on. And lastly, wanted to remind everyone next Tuesday, we do have a primary election run off. This is actually for everyone who votes Democratic or if you're Republican. On the Democratic side, we do have two females that are in the runoff for governor. We could not get them scheduled on the show. Y'all do know I would have had them scheduled, but take your time to do your research. That's what I ask you. And then I think we have three or four candidates that are in the runoff for state representative. And then we have two candidates in the runoff for Jefferson County School Board, District 5. I do know that it's a runoff and these are expected to be low. But ma'ams, please, sirs, please make sure that you go out and let your voice be heard. The biggie is in November, but please go ahead, 7 o'clock a.m. to 7 p.m. Make sure you're there to let your voice be heard. So what I'm gonna do to close, being that this is Father's Day, Jasmine, Father's Day weekend, when you talk about your dad, what comes to your mind and share in your own way how you're grateful for your dad.
Um, so my dad is one of those dads who believed in teaching me everything I needed to know. I have pictures of me from being a small kid in like my little kid size coveralls working on cars beside him.
Wow.
And whenever my friends, find that out, they're like, "Oh, you're such a girly girl. You're this, you're that." I'm like, "Yeah, but I can change my own oil and my tires." But so my dad, a few years ago, due to complications with diabetes, people take care of yourself. Go to them checkups, eat what you're supposed to eat, work out, listen to your doctors, don't be stubborn. Um, but my dad is now, well, he's had surgery since, so he can see a little bit again. But at that point, my dad couldn't see. And I was visiting my parents, and my I had a flat tire, and I had a flat tire maybe 2 or 3 miles from my parents' house. And I got out to, of course, change it. Well, because of the ground where I was, it was too soft. So when I put the jack down and I started cranking the jack, instead of it lifting the car, it was pushing the jack into the ground.
Wow.
And I was in a rental, so I didn't have a hard surface. So I called and I was like, "Dad, what do I do? Like, you taught me how to do this, but you didn't tell me this was going to happen. Like, let's go up, not down." And so he gets my mom and he was like, "Me and your mom are on the way." And so they brought me a board to put under the jack. They brought me a 2x4. And my dad unfortunately had to stand there while I changed the tire. And
Wow.
I think at that moment it was bittersweet, because mom said that, I mean, of course, he didn't say anything at that time. My dad's also one of those macho manly men. But she said whenever they got in the car, he was like, "She did that. I taught her that." So I think it was difficult for him, because as much as he's taught me, my dad has always been the one who, once you know how to do it, I'll resume doing it.
Right.
Um, but that was the first time we encountered a situation where he was physically incapable of doing it and I had to do it myself. And that memory just kind of sticks with me, because my dad is always my caretaker. Like, I went home last weekend, and I was just passing through because I picked up my mom and my nieces to go out to South Carolina for a little girls' vacay. And I dropped them off on my way back through Georgia. And before I left, my dad was like, "Here, let me make you a couple of tacos before you go," because he had cooked. And so I ate the tacos, of course. And then before I left, he had stuck me a little bowl of watermelon he cut up for me, because watermelon's one of my favorite fruits. He was like, "Don't tell your mama, because I told her I wouldn't share it with nobody." So it's just like those little things. Like, at the end of the day, I'm still a daddy's girl for the most part. But he is definitely a big part of who I am. We did not get along while I was in high school. My mom says it's because we're so much alike, which is how we get along so well now that I'm an adult. She's like, whenever you were more vocal in your rebellious teenage years, you just kind of bumped heads. But once we figured it out, once we got older, we are thick as thieves now. So yeah, pleasant memories. What about you? Let's hear about you and your dad. Because like, your dad's listening. I'm gonna have to get my dad to watch this. He can know I said good things.
So my dad is the GOAT. He was actually on last year. We did the segment together. But he's the GOAT. And one of the reasons why I say that is because being a school teacher for I think 28 years and still coming home to raise three children, it it doesn't go unnoticed. And he was always there growing up, not just present, but present, if y'all get what I'm saying. Because sometimes parents are just there and they're just there, but he was always present. I don't care what it was. And so that's one of the blessings and probably one of the greatest lessons that he has taught me is probably don't quit. I've seen my dad in a lot of phases and a lot of leadership roles. And even now We talk about the difficulties that he's having on his job or tough situations, but his faith, his admiration, and his tenacity, those are things that I admire. So that's why he's my dad, and that's why he's the real GOAT. And I would admonish everyone. And then lastly, he's my friend. I can say that without apology. He is. And I'll say this in closing. I don't care what you're dealing with either parent. The way the last 2 years have been in COVID, let it go. Sometimes in order to get to the letting go stage, you just have to talk about things, talk through things, work it out. We get one life. They used to say you could be here today and gone tomorrow, but the way times are changing, you could be here today and gone today. So I would admonish anyone watching today, or you'll watch the replay. I know this is Father's Day weekend, but if you are not speaking with either parent, your parent may not have raised you. If you're not speaking to a guardian, y'all fix this stuff because we don't know when it will be the last time. And one of the worst things you could want to do is when that person that raised you, when they pass away, you living with regrets because of what you could have fixed. So I would just admonish you to fix that thing, fix it. It's never too late. As long as we have breath in our body, we each have a chance. So that's our Father's Day tribute again. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And if you don't have a father, like we said for Mother's Day, link up with the father that you look as a dad. Adopt you a dad for the day, but don't allow yourself to be in a depressive place. Your dad may be in heaven, but again, there are a lot of wonderful fathers out here. Call somebody, let them know you love them. You know, God has given us the capability to be able to share love and extend love. So just because your father isn't here or hasn't taken an active role in your life, link out to another father, and I promise you, it will make you feel the world of a difference. Jasmine, we were thinking alike. We both got on orange. I just noticed that. Well, y'all, this is the end of our show, and we apologize we couldn't get Councilor Woods on. But if he does reach out, what you may see, we won't go live, but we may do just an interview with him because I really wanted to get the backstory of the Man Up Breakfast. So if that does happen, we'll post it on all of our channels and on my personal page. But again, keep the faith, and we will be back Monday at 7:15 for another exciting show where we're continuing our discussion of Black Music Month. Have a great evening, and we will see you soon.